WrestleMania 41 Night 1 gave us a triple threat match that had everything. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk delivering an amazing triple threat match and a Paul Heyman betrayal that left jaws on the floor. This wasn't just a fight, it was a decade-long grudge match fueled by broken friendships, backstabs, and pure ego. These three tore each other apart in the WrestleMania 41 main event. No title on the line, just pure hatred. How did these three legends end up hating each other so much? And why did Heyman pull the ultimate swerve? Stick around to understand the psychology of this rivalry. If you like wrestling and are new to this channel, like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Let's dive in. To understand the crux of this rivalry, we need to go back and visit their history. CM Punk was central to the existence of The Shield. The Shield made their first appearance on the main roster at Survivor Series on November 18, 2012. During the Triple Threat WWE Championship match, they suddenly attacked Ryback, enabling Punk to pin Cena and retain the title. In the following weeks, the Shield repeatedly inserted themselves into Punk's championship matches. Although the Shield styled themselves as vigilantes fighting injustice, it was revealed in early 2013 on Raw that CM Punk and Paul Heyman had actually been paying the Shield to protect Punk's title reign and disrupt his challengers. According to reports, the very concept of the Shield sprang from Punk himself. He allegedly suggested to WWE Creative that instead of calling up one enforcer, they introduced three guys. Punk had influence in the Shield's creation, which would later become one of the greatest factions of all time, giving birth to three future megastars of wrestling. The Shield dominated the scene for nearly 2 years. They were untouchable until the day it was all over. On the June 2, 2014 episode of Raw, just one night after the Shield's hard-fought victory over Evolution at Payback, Triple H unveiled his Plan B to destroy the trio, and at that moment Seth Rollins struck both Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns with a steel chair, turning his back on his brothers and pledging allegiance to the Authority. This betrayal effectively dissolved the Shield and set Rollins on a meteoric rise as WWE's top heel, culminating in his 2015 Money in the Bank cash-in to capture the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 31 by stealing Roman's moment. He had a great run at the top throughout 2015. On the other hand, CM Punk left WWE in 2014 due to a mix of creative frustrations, poor communication, and health concerns. He felt sidelined from major storylines, was unhappy with the company's direction, and accused WWE of neglecting serious medical issues. He walked out after the Royal Rumble and was officially released later that year. He joined AEW in the summer of 2021. Seth Rollins betraying the Shield played a significant role in shaping Roman Reigns' tribal chief character and his ongoing trust issues. The betrayal by Seth Rollins, who Roman considered a brother, was a deeply personal wound for Roman. This betrayal shattered Roman's desire to be loved and accepted as a good guy, especially as the audience turned against him during his big dog run. This emotional trauma contributed to Roman embracing a darker, more dominant persona as the tribal chief, a character who demands respect and recognition from both his family and the WWE Universe. Roman's catchphrase, "Acknowledge me," emphasizing his demand for acknowledgement, originated from his need to assert dominance and command respect after feeling betrayed and rejected. This persona is rooted in his belief that he can only make people acknowledge him by force. He created an alliance with his cousins, the Usos, and later Solo, forming the Bloodline faction. The betrayal set off a chain of events that pushed Roman to become more of a monster that Seth Rollins helped create. The betrayal reinforced Roman's mentality about loyalty and trust, which are central themes in his tribal chief character. Despite a Shield reunion in 2017, where Roman appeared to forgive Seth, the betrayal left a lasting scar. This lingering bitterness resurfaced strongly during their feud around the 2022 Royal Rumble, where Roman explicitly stated he never truly forgave Seth for the betrayal. At the 2022 Royal Rumble, the Universal Championship match between Roman and Seth was a highly emotional and intense chapter in their long-standing rivalry rooted in their Shield history. Rollins entered wearing the original Shield gear and entrance theme, taunting Reigns and playing mind games to get inside the head of Roman using his trauma. The match featured back-and-forth action with multiple near falls, showcasing their chemistry and deep personal history. The climax saw Reigns applying a guillotine choke on Rollins, who reached the ropes to break the hold. Reigns refused to release the submission, leading to a disqualification. After the bell, Reigns viciously attacked Rollins with a steel chair on the back, paralleling Seth's betrayal of the Shield. The most interesting part of the match was when Roman applied his signature guillotine choke. He was heard saying, "He won't allow me to let go." This line carried a powerful double meaning. On one hand, it referred to Rollins physically refusing to submit and break the hold, forcing Roman to maintain the choke longer than usual. On a deeper storytelling level, it symbolized Roman's psychological struggle. He was unable to let go of the past betrayal by Rollins and the emotional wounds from their Shield history. On the road to WrestleMania 40, the rivalry between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns intensified. Rollins positioned himself as the only man capable of stopping Reigns and the Bloodline. In the main event of WrestleMania 40 Night 1, Rollins teamed with Cody Rhodes to face Reigns and The Rock in a tag match. Despite a hard-fought battle, Rollins and Rhodes lost. On Night 2, Rollins lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Drew McIntyre, largely due to the toll from Night 1's match. During the WrestleMania 40 Night 2 main event, Seth Rollins shocked the arena by reappearing in his iconic Shield gear, this time wielding a chair. His unexpected entrance not only disrupted the action, but also struck a nerve with Roman Reigns, triggering long-buried trauma from a betrayal that shattered the Shield a decade ago. Following the chaos, Roman found himself with a split-second choice: take a swing at either Cody and retain his title, or settle a personal score with Rollins. Ultimately, his decision to lash out at Rollins with a brutal chair shot underscored just how deeply the betrayal still hurt, even if it cost him his historic undisputed title reign. In the build-up to Survivor Series War Games 2024, the OG Bloodline found themselves scrambling to recruit a fifth man to stand against the new Bloodline. Despite pleas from Jey Uso and Sami Zayn to join their team, Seth Rollins turned down the offer, citing his deep-seated hatred for Roman and refusal to align with a tyrant he once called a friend. Roman himself was mad that his own cousins and Zayn had negotiated for Rollins behind his back, adding yet another layer of tension to his simmering rivalry with the Visionary. To solve the issue, Paul Heyman made a surprise return on SmackDown to present CM Punk as the OG Bloodline's final member to even the odds, though Punk's appearance came with an unspoken favor owed to Heyman. When War Games finally hit, the OG Bloodline triumphed over Solo's faction in a brutal War Games match. Though Punk and Reigns shared a handshake, this was far from over. Seth Rollins was furious after seeing Punk align with Reigns. His renewed rivalry with Punk erupted in a match on Raw's Netflix premiere on January 6, 2025, in which Punk defeated Rollins after hitting him with the GTS twice. At the 2025 Royal Rumble, the bad blood between CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins exploded, officially igniting their heated rivalry. Toward the match's chaotic end, Roman and Seth, former Shield brothers, stood face to face. They traded blows, desperately trying to toss each other over the top rope. But Punk, ever the opportunist, snuck up from behind and dumped both out at once. The celebration was short-lived. Logan Paul capitalized and eliminated Punk seconds later. Outside the ring, Roman confronted Punk, referencing the War Games match, yelling, "We literally partnered up a month ago." A furious Rollins, gutted by the loss, snapped, blindsiding Roman with a vicious two-footed curb stomp on the floor, then brawling wildly with Punk around ringside. Seth wasn't done. He hunted Roman down and delivered another brutal stomp on the steel steps, leaving him knocked out. Roman was written off TV after that. Meanwhile, Punk and Seth earned spots in the Elimination Chamber match on March 1st, setting the stage for their feud to boil over on the road to WrestleMania. The Elimination Chamber match was chaotic. The final three, Punk, Seth, and John Cena, electrified the fans, with Punk and Cena briefly teaming up on Seth. However, after Cena and Punk eliminated Seth with a GTS and Attitude Adjustment combo, Seth's obsession with Punk took over. He was furious and stomped Punk's head into the mat and held him down, allowing Cena to lock in an STF, causing Punk to pass out and lose his WrestleMania main event dream. This highlighted the hatred Seth has for Punk. This led to a chaotic brawl on Raw the next night, and then a steel cage match was made official for next week's Raw. On March 10, 2025, the steel cage match between CM Punk and Seth Rollins headlined Raw, delivering a brutal match filled with hatred and near falls. However, the match's climax came from Roman Reigns' shocking return. Reigns emerged and yanked Rollins out of the cage through the side door and secured Rollins' victory by default. Reigns unleashed a vicious assault, hitting Rollins with a Superman punch, a spear, and a curb stomp of his own. He attempted to hit it on the steel steps as well, only stopping when Adam Pearce and security intervened. Reigns then turned his attention to the ring, where Paul Heyman was consoling a battered Punk. Enraged by Heyman's apparent divided loyalties, Reigns entered the cage and speared Punk, standing tall on both his rivals. On SmackDown March 21st, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk engaged in a chaotic segment that set the stage for their WrestleMania 41 triple threat match. Reigns opened, addressing the crowd and explaining his actions. He cost Punk a steel cage match against Rollins on Raw because Punk eliminated him at the 2025 Royal Rumble, and he attacked Rollins for attempting to kill him at the Rumble. Rollins entered, accusing Reigns of underestimating Punk's danger to WWE and insisting their rivalry, rooted in their Shield history, was the real story. He claimed neither he nor Reigns could coexist. Punk then joined, refuting Reigns' claim of being screwed at the Rumble, noting it's every man for himself in the Rumble. He reminded Reigns of his help during the 2024 War Games match and hinted at a favor owed by Paul Heyman, thanking him for delivering Reigns. Tensions escalated as Punk attacked Reigns, sparking a brawl involving all three men. Referees and agents struggled to separate them as they fought across the ring and announce desk. Each pointed to the WrestleMania sign, confirming their triple threat match at WrestleMania 41. On the March 28th episode of SmackDown in London, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk participated in a contract signing for their WrestleMania 41 triple threat match. Reigns, accompanied by Paul Heyman, entered first and signed the contract. Rollins interrupted Reigns. He dove into their shared past, referencing their time in the Shield and their 2013 moment in London when they put The Undertaker through a table. He claimed, "We accomplished our mission to revolutionize WWE together." Reigns rejected the "we" narrative. He insisted "we" died long ago, taking sole credit for elevating WWE to a billion-dollar Netflix era, dismissing Rollins' contributions with a cold, "What did you do?" Seth once again blamed Reigns for letting CM Punk become a threat. He signed the contract, insisting he'd clean up Reigns' mess. Punk entered to a massive ovation, carefully reviewed the contract, and signed it. Heyman revealed the match would main event WrestleMania 41, prompting an emotional response from Punk, who thanked the fans. Rollins threw a tantrum, arguing Punk didn't deserve the spot, while Reigns mocked Punk's dream and demanded gratitude. Punk sarcastically thanked Reigns as his tribal chief, but declared the main event wasn't the favor he's owed from Heyman, ending the segment on a cliffhanger. On the next week of SmackDown, Punk finally cashed in the favor, revealing that Heyman would be in his corner in the main event of WrestleMania. Roman didn't believe it, as he thought his wise men would never betray him, and he asked Paul to deny Punk, but Paul responded that he couldn't do that to his best friend. Seth was standing there just enjoying all this. As tensions rise between Paul and Roman, Punk attacks Roman from behind and delivers a GTS to him while Rollins stands there smiling. On Raw April 7th, Heyman addressed the crowd, reaffirming his loyalty to both Roman Reigns, his tribal chief, and CM Punk, his longtime friend, despite the complicated dynamics heading into their WrestleMania main event. Seth Rollins interrupted Heyman's promo, questioning his loyalty and manipulating the narrative by highlighting Reigns' absence during Heyman's struggles post-WrestleMania 40, when the bloodline led by Solo mistreated him. Rollins also put doubt on Punk's friendship, noting Punk's decade-long absence from WWE. Rollins tried to manipulate Heyman, suggesting neither Reigns nor Punk truly valued Heyman. This drew out CM Punk, who came to Heyman's defense, sparking a brawl with Rollins. The two exchanged blows, but Rollins gained the upper hand, hitting Punk with a curb stomp. In a pivotal moment, Rollins then lined up Heyman for a potential stomp but spared him, declaring that Heyman now owed him a favor. This added a new layer of intrigue to the WrestleMania storyline, with Heyman caught between his allegiance to Reigns, his friendship with Punk, and now a debt to Rollins. The final Raw before WrestleMania 41 featured a chaotic main event segment. The tension began with Roman Reigns confronting Heyman in the ring, accusing him of betrayal for agreeing to support CM Punk at WrestleMania as repayment for Punk's assistance at Survivor Series War Games. Reigns emphasized that he takes what he wants and doesn't rely on favors, chastising Heyman for prioritizing loyalty to Punk over their long-standing alliance. Seth Rollins interrupted the confrontation, framing the upcoming triple threat match as pivotal for WWE's future, claiming the company would die if Punk won. He taunted Reigns and tried to manipulate him for failing to recognize that Heyman's alliance with Punk was a deliberate, but Reigns retaliated by clotheslining Rollins out of the ring. The tribal chief then turned his anger toward Heyman, shoving him to the mat, which prompted CM Punk to rush to the ring and engage in a brawl with Reigns. Punk momentarily gained the upper hand, but Reigns quickly regained control and speared Punk. Rollins re-entered the fray, wielding a steel chair reminiscent of his infamous betrayal of the Shield. He struck Reigns in the back before delivering a stomp to both Reigns and Punk. The segment concluded with Rollins standing tall. It was finally time for the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania 41. The expectations were enormous, and it was up to these three titans to deliver an unforgettable main event. And boy, did they deliver. The magic of this match started even before the bell rang with their iconic entrances. Rollins came out in his all-white attire, being his flamboyant self. The fans serenaded the visionary to the ring as he walked out with a flamethrower, which I'm pretty sure has nothing to do with a certain final boss. Roman walked out with his unmatched aura, with the entire WWE Universe throwing up the ones in the air. And then it was time for CM Punk to enter his first WrestleMania main event. Before Punk's entrance, they played this awesome video package with Punk's old theme that would make every CM Punk fan nostalgic. Living Color played Punk out to the ring as the Second City Saint walked down the ramp with his best friend by his side, and for a moment it felt like we were back in 2011, and it was the summer of Punk all over again. Even before these men laid hands on each other, you could just feel the magic in the air. The bell rings, the match is underway, and Punk quickly scoots out of the ring, leaving Rollins and Reigns to handle their business. Rollins tries to convince Reigns to team up against Punk, but the tribal chief is in no mood for collabs. Reigns unloads on Rollins, but Punk swiftly returns to the ring and tries to take advantage. Reigns turns the tables on Punk and takes out both Rollins and Punk with clotheslines. Punk and Rollins soon regroup, and the action spills to the outside. Rollins unloads on Punk with the garbage can, but before you know it, in comes a flying tribal chief, wiping out both Rollins and Punk. Reigns takes control once again, and goes after Punk as Heyman can do nothing but watch his best friend get destroyed. Punk manages to escape and goes on a tear, playing his greatest hits as he hits the elbow from the top rope. From there, it's a spectacle. Rollins unleashes his crazy offense where he hits both Reigns and Punk with buckle bombs, counters a spear into a pedigree, and hits a frog splash on both men. The next sequence in this match is what elevated this match to the next level. Rollins takes Punk down and then is left in the ring with himself and the monster he created when he stabbed Reigns in the back. Rollins tries to appeal to Roman. He says that Roman doesn't understand that Punk doesn't belong here. He tells Roman that it's because he doesn't understand anything. He told him that you're without him. You're without Mox, and you're without the bloodline. Rollins slides outside the ring, starts dismantling the announce table, and sets up for a good old classic Shield powerbomb. We've seen this 100 times over the years. No matter how bitter, no matter how antagonistic the Shield boys are at each other, when they're together, when the odds are stacked against them, you always get a Shield powerbomb for the nostalgia. But this time, Roman smacks Rollins in the face and instead powerbombs both Punk and Rollins himself through the table. This is crucial because this cements Roman as an evolved version of his former self. He refuses to reconcile with Rollins. He has no mercy for the man who stabbed him in the back. The match kicks into the next gear after this as there are spears, stomps, and a crazy sequence where Punk hits Rollins with the GTS. Reigns spears Punk. Rollins stomps Reigns, and all three men are down. You could just feel that you were watching something special. You could just sense that this was monumental. This was a WrestleMania main event in every sense of the word. But this match was far from over. As a matter of fact, we were only getting started. What happened next is what truly took this match from a classic to absolutely legendary status. You see, the story leading into this match was simple yet multi-layered. Punk hated Rollins. Reigns hated Rollins. Rollins hated both Punk and Reigns. Punk and Reigns both wanted Paul Heyman, and the wise man was torn with conflicting loyalties to his best friend and his tribal chief. As all three men are down, Heyman grabs a steel chair from ringside. He looks at Reigns, looks at Punk, and in a shocking moment, Heyman slides the chair to CM Punk. Reigns looks distraught as he is once again betrayed by someone he trusted. Heyman gets in the ring. Punk picks up the chair. Punk is about to strike Reigns, and boom! Heyman low blows CM Punk and turns his back on his so-called best friend. Heyman hands the chair to Reigns, pledges his allegiance to the tribal chief, and all is right in the world once again. Or so we thought. Reigns picks up the chair and destroys Punk before turning his attention to his arch-enemy, Seth Rollins. The one man Reigns has never forgiven. The same man who stabbed Reigns in the back and turned Roman into a monster. Now it is Roman's turn to get his revenge. It's finally Roman's turn to exact vengeance for the ultimate betrayal of the architect. But then the unthinkable happens. Paul Heyman low blows Roman Reigns and turns on his tribal chief. After 5 long years, the wise man has turned his back on the head of the table. The wise men who had been by Roman's side through thick and thin, through the dissolution of the bloodline, through battles with numerous opponents, and through his longest championship reign in modern history, betray him at the most critical moment. Heyman hands over the chair to Rollins. Rollins savors the moment, and just like he had destroyed the Shield a decade ago by stabbing Reigns in the back with a steel chair, Rollins once again destroys the Roman Empire, this time with the help of the very man Roman trusted the most. Rollins hits Reigns with the chair and hits him with one final stomp and picks up the win, bringing an end to this WrestleMania classic. This feeling, this atmosphere, this emotion is what WrestleMania is all about. What made this story so compelling is the journey of every character involved. CM Punk was finally in his first WrestleMania main event after years of being denied this opportunity. This was his chance for redemption to prove that he truly belongs at the pinnacle of WWE. Roman Reigns once again put his trust in his wise men, only to be betrayed at the most crucial moment. For 5 years, Reigns had built an empire with Heyman by his side. The tribal chief had overcome every obstacle, from family betrayal to the collapse of his bloodline, but always had Heyman as his constant. But this betrayal was the final nail in the coffin of the empire Roman had built over the last 5 years. Rollins conquered 2 of his biggest rivals in one night. He wanted to stop Punk from stealing his spotlight, and he also wanted to finally get the best of his arch-nemesis, Roman Reigns, on the grandest stage of them all. Then you had the wild card, Paul Heyman, the wise man, the evil genius who always plays chess while everyone else plays checkers. Heyman's masterful manipulation showed once again why he's the greatest manager in wrestling history, capable of changing the landscape of WWE with a single decision. This was 4 of the greatest storytellers of our generation, creating an all-time classic. Punk and Roman were going through it emotionally. Paul betrayed the 2 closest people to him. The favor from CM Punk worked in Paul's favor because it deluded Punk into thinking that Paul was on his side, only for Paul to backstab him. This was exactly 10 years after WrestleMania 31, where Seth Rollins had his iconic cash-in on Roman during the main event. Seth did the same thing now by taking away everything from Roman. One thing I find of note about this is when Paul Heyman low-blowed CM Punk, he almost mourned the betrayal as if it was something he didn't want to do. But Punk forced his hand by making him choose between him and Roman. When Paul turned on Roman, it felt like he was the target, like he was letting out years of internalized rage in one moment. Paul was stuck between the loyalty of Roman Reigns and the friendship of CM Punk, and he saw joining Seth as the only way out of this. Paul knew the effect that Seth has on Roman. He knew how much it would destroy Roman if he were to side with Seth, a man that Roman confided in with all his emotions and displeasures about. Seth had the opportunity to use that all against Roman, and he did it. 10 years apart in the main event of WrestleMania, Roman had the black and white gear, and he was heartbroken, with nothing left of his empire. Reigns, Rollins, and Punk's incredible performances and Heyman's calculated betrayal elevated this beyond just a wrestling match. Thanks for sticking till the end. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.